Hi, I am Nancy Nicole, and you are watching In the Know. Today I have the pleasure of having with me not only my former high school classmate, but also a former Ohio House of Representatives serving the 25th District. He was also on the Columbus City Council and the State Treasurer of Ohio. So I am speaking of no other than Commissioner Kevin Boyce.
Thank you. You did good. Yeah, you got it all down. There's no cue cards out there.
Oh, but wait a minute. I wanted to say something else, but I forgot it. But it's okay. I did get a chance to get all the important details in.
Good.
First, I wanted to ask you, how are you? Like, really, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. You know, this is, I'm blessed to have been elected into this job. It's, I'm the first African-American to ever hold this post. And so I'm excited. Everyone's been treating me really good, and we've got some really exciting things coming up. So I'm good right now.
I'm happy to hear that. So you're getting all settled in your office and in the space and everything. You're getting settled?
Just barely. I mean, it took us a little time to move in. You know, transition into public office. There's a lot that goes on behind the scene in terms of bonding and paperwork and different, you know, getting sworn in and all that stuff. But eventually you start the job, which we did, and you're rocking and rolling. We are. Got all my staff hired, and we got our agenda set, and so we're getting around the county and do what we need to do. What, you need a job?
Got all the staff hired. I was hoping I can slide in there some type of way.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
You never know. That's true. But also, like, okay, so you're getting all settled in because it's still fairly new. Everything's still, you just, you know, getting in here and in the office and everything. So being the commissioner, like, what's your first order of business? Like, what is it that your first priority?
Well, I mean, we're building that now.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that we just set a calendar for is we're going to get around to all the 16 cities that exist in Franklin County, meet with the mayor and city council members, and really try to understand how the county and their city are working together or not working together, and try to figure out what we can do for that region or for that city and where we can be collaborative. And so we just started the list and we're starting to schedule those folks. And I think from that we'll be able to build an agenda that impacts everybody, because that's the thing when you're a county commissioner, you're trying to make sure what you do has a broad impact. And so we're just starting to build that.
And that, I'm glad you said that, like being county commissioner, because me, you know those books they have, you know, for dummies. I'm kind of like, I need a book for dummies for politics and government, because I think the last time I really studied government was when we were at East High School.
Right.
So, I mean, I would like for you to tell me, like, let's go back to high school a little bit, or let's go further than high school. When did you first spark your interest in government and in politics? When did that happen for you?
Well, first, I can remember back to high school. It stops right at like 10th grade. So, you know, I don't know. No. You know, honestly, I've asked that question a lot. And I think back, and it sounds like a real sophisticated, well thought out answer, but I've been asked that question so many times. You know, when I was growing up, my father was murdered. And, you know, I grew up in a situation where my father was, and I think about this now, I didn't think about it then, it wasn't so sophisticated, but, you know, he was a Marine in Vietnam, comes home to his own neighborhood and community and gets his life taken by a fellow citizen. And even back then, it had such a profound impact on me. I didn't know it at the time, but it had such a profound impact on me that every layer of school and life, everything kind of came back to that. And so when I was in college, really, is where I started to see the power of service, the power of public service, and how I could change things, or maybe change things. And it was a professor of mine in college who came to me and said, look, have you ever thought about going into politics? You know, I actually was going to graduate from college, and I was actually going to the Marines.
Oh,
and
you were?
I was gonna enlist and go into the Marines.
You were gonna
and I was. And one of my professors came to me and he said, hey, have you ever thought about running for office? And I was like, running for office? And he said, you know, he knew the story of my dad and how my mom struggled and all the things we went through. And he said, I think that you might be able to make a difference. And so, you know, then he offered me a job later in politics. He said, you know, when you graduate, come talk to me. And when I was graduating, he called me and said, hey, why don't you come work for me? And I think you got a future in politics. And I did. And so now 20-something odd years later, here I am.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
He's seen something in you.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
wonderful. That is amazing. So now that you're here, And I'm learning about what it is that you do. You deal with budgeting and management and policies. Is there any particular type of policy that you would like to implement?
Well, I mean, there's a list of things. I mean, I ran for office because I believe that I could help make the county better. You know, first of all, there's never been an African American that has served as county commissioner. In Franklin County, one of the main jobs of the county is to help those who are most in need, just like the families I came from. So what we know as welfare or TANF dollars, you know, that all comes to the county. And I really believe that I can have an impact. It's not just about giving those folks some assistance. That's important because it can help their current situation. But I want to peel back the layers, and I want to see how we can go from giving you a check or some assistance to ensuring that you can do it yourself, that you can be successful. And so I think there are a lot of ways and things that we can do to help families be stronger on their own. And it doesn't mean we change their assistance level or anything like that. It just means that we look at it differently and try to help them in a different way. Remember the saying, they say, you know, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime. And I really just think that's the approach I'm going to take as a county commissioner.
That is awesome, because you answered my next question, basically what I was going to ask you, which was something like, what kind of beneficial growth did you want to do for our county, for our city? And I think right there you've already answered that question. So I also want to hit on a reason why I wanted to really interview you at this present time and in this month is because, as you know, and as you are saying, it is Black History Month, and I wanted to honor that. And I wanted to indicate, as you said, like, you are our first African American county commissioner, and I want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
That's an awesome step. And I also read, like, you were, like, in 2009 for treasurer, you were the first African American.
I was the first African American Democrat treasurer.
Exactly.
So
absolutely right.
definitely. I mean, you know, you were asking about just politics in general. Don't feel bad about that, because I'm telling you, the number one question that I was asked on the campaign trail, what does a county commissioner do? I kid you not. That's what everybody, I'd be out there shaking hands, vote for Kevin Boyce. Hey, I'm talking about economic development, I'm talking about job creation. They'd be like, yeah. What do you do? What does a commissioner do? Explain that to me. So don't feel bad. Everybody kind of trying to figure that out.
Thank you, because I had to research Commissioner Boyce. I did, because, I had to find out for myself. So if you want to answer that for everyone who is need the dummy book for politics like myself, if you can please answer that in short, I would appreciate it.
I think the easiest way to describe it is think of the commissioner like the mayor of the county.
Okay.
Except there are three of us. Where the mayor sort of runs the city and decides how the money is used and supports things within the city. That's what commissioners do. There are only three of us, and so none of us have more power than the other. So it takes two of us to do anything. We have to decide, if we want to spend, $1 million building a roadway or something, then two of us, once we say it, then that's how it gets done. So that's the easiest way to think of it.
Well, I thank you for explaining that to us
and
for
everybody
me.
here. Now you know.
Yes, absolutely. So, and to get back to Black History Month, as you know, what was it, last month or earlier this month, it was said that our Commander-in-Chief wanted to change the name of the month, from Black History Month to National African American Month. What is your feelings about that? What's your preference? Would you prefer it to be Black History Month, or would you prefer National African American History Month?
Well, in my mind, every month is Black History Month. African Americans have contributed to this country in ways that we're still trying to get recognized for, and I think that we should be embedding African American history into history in the right way. So that's the first thing. But I disagree with this president on so many levels, on so many things. I just think that he's out of place to make that judgment call. I think that's something that if he wants to support the cause or support, our history, then what he can do is promote it as a curriculum every day. That he can, ensure that it's embedded into the history books, so that no matter what kind of history you're studying, if you're studying American history, you're going to learn about the contribution of African Americans.
Absolutely.
So.
I love that answer, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I was going to insult the 45th president, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'll let others do that and just say, but one thing I do want to talk about, if I could,
Absolutely.
He issued this executive order that basically banned folks from 7 different countries that are all Muslim-oriented countries. And I think that's really indicative of his intentions and his perspective. And when you target one group of people based on their religious beliefs, then it's a slippery slope. Who's to say we're not next, or you're not next, or someone else, or women, or whatever. And so I really think that we are at a point in time in our country where folks really have to start paying attention to the voting process, to the electoral conversation, and really engage in politics. And that's maybe the beauty of a guy like the 45th president that we have. He is waking a lot of people up, and so they're seeing it, and maybe, just maybe, folks will be more engaged, get more people to run for office. Maybe you'll run for office next. Yeah. And so you never know. You never know. You never know. We'll leave it at that.
True. That is absolutely right. But
if I can do it, you can do it. And I mean that about anybody. I mean that. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing unique or great about my background. I'm just another kid from the neighborhood who somehow was lucky, or the stars and the moons aligned right, and I was able to make it out of a situation and then be put in a situation to give back. But I really believe that anybody can do it, and it can happen to anybody. So, maybe.
Great words of encouragement, and absolutely, I agree with you.
We could be serving commissioners together. You could run for commissioner. We could run this town, man.
I would love to, absolutely. You have to be ahead of me. You have to lead, okay? Okay, so I want to kind of end this on a note, whereas, well, you did say something else you wanted to say, and I thank you for those words, but you are a busy man, you are a family man, you are married for 19 years. I don't understand how you have enough time in the day, and so on and so forth, and you are actually about to go be awarded right now.
Yes, I'm going, I'll be leaving here to go to an organization called the New American Political Action Committee, and they have chosen me, and it's a group of Somali Americans.
Okay, awesome.
That have chosen me as sort of to be honored for my advocacy and work for immigrants, refugees, and new Americans. I started an organization called the New Americans Advisory Council last year, where we begin to peel back the layers for our newest Americans and try to find ways to make life stronger for them so that they can thrive and their families can thrive. And so so they'll be honoring me tonight with an award. I'll be giving a keynote speech, and I feel privileged and honored every time someone says, "Job well done. We appreciate your work." Because sometimes it can be a thankless job, and that's not why I'm in it. But it's nice to have somebody say, "Hey, good job" every now and then. I mean, when the voters vote for you, that's kind of that. But sometimes it's nice that when people kind of recognize you and say, "Hey, here's something that we want to thank you for," and so tonight will be nice. And then I'm going to Omega's have an event tonight, so I'm at Omega. You can see my little Omega hat back there.
Yes. So you
and
let your hair down a
my
little
hair
bit.
down a little bit.
That's good.
So I'll hang out with the Omegas for a little bit tonight.
That's awesome.
So,
well, I definitely want to thank you. I want to shake your hand because I'm appreciative. I thank you for running and being the great man that you are. I grew up, to seeing this great, handsome commissioner right now. I thank you so much.
I remember she was a cheerleader at East High School.
East High School, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's good to see you.
You as well. Thank you for watching In the Know with Nancy Nicole. If you would like to be a guest, you have any ideas or any products, please look me up at facebook.com/Nancy Nicole 1. Again, facebook.com/Nancy Nicole 1. You are now in tuned.